Chers apprenants, en cette période de confinement, le gouvernement, à travers les ministères sectoriels de l'éducation et de la formation, vous invite à suivre vos enseignants dans des séances de rappel de cours, exercices et devoirs, matière par matière, sous la supervision pédagogique des directeurs d'enseignement et des inspecteurs spécialisés dans leur discipline. Ces rappels de cours sont mis à votre disposition à travers les radios, les télévisions et les applications web. En cette période de Covid-19, suivez les cours, faites vos exercices et continuez d'apprendre vos leçons en attendant le retour à l'école.
Hello, my dear student of Terminale. It is a great joy for me to know that you are all ears and eyes waiting for the distance learning program. You are cordially welcome to this very learning program. I am Mr. Abochi Agbonohevi, English language teacher from Lycée d'enseignement général Aguido Gomé 1. Surely you have realized that our three first lessons were on American studies. And today we're going to start with African studies. And the test we are going to revisit today is titled Nelson Mandela and the History of Apartheid. It is going to be, of course, a revision of vocabulary and grammar. But before coming back to this very program of the day, I would like us to go back a little bit and see the homework that you have been given the other day. So may we please now go back to the homework. You are cordially invited to take your notebooks and let's together see what you should have done. So the sentences are on the board. We are going to see the correction now. The first sentence was saying, the instruction were rewrite these sentences as indicated. And you are to use contrast conjunctions. So one of them that we are having here is although. And the sentence is saying, Mr. Losu is very fat, but he runs fast. So if that is the sentence, where is in this very sentence the contrast conjunction? If the contrast conjunction here is but, then what we are going to do is we are simply going to remove the contrast conjunction and do what? And rewrite the sentence from the very beginning using although. And that is all. Very simple way of going about the use of although. So we remove the but and we rewrite the sentence. Let's go, you will see. Yeah, if we remove the but, this will be now the result. The result will be, although Mr. Losu is very fat, he runs fat. He runs fast. So this is what? The sentence with although. What have we done? We have simply removed the contrast conjunction and recopy the sentence. Very easy way of doing the whole business. Shall we now go to the second possibility? The second possibility was the same sentence, but this time around, we are starting the sentence with despite. And the easiest way, the simplest way of doing this job is what? Removing again the what? The contrast conjunction, adding first the fact that, and then you recopy the sentence. Very easy, isn't it? So if you know your contrast conjunctions, yet, and, but, these are all contrast conjunctions. If you know them and you are having a sentence starting with although, despite, even though, even if, my dears, the system is very simple. Look for the contrast conjunction, remove it, and rewrite the whole sentence. Very simple. You can see that we are having a second sentence here. It is saying, Amma is a beautiful girl. However, boys do not like her. And they are starting with even though. Even though again is also a contrast conjunction. What are we going to look for? We go back to our sentence, we look for this very element, a linking word that we are going to remove. We remove the linking word, and what do? We recopy the rest of the sentence. Very easy. You just remove the however here, and then you do what? You recopy the rest of the sentence. That's all. So if you do that, you will finally obtain, even though Amma is a beautiful girl, boys do not like her. So you can see that this very business was a very easy homework. Now that we have done the homework, we are left with this very one, in spite of. What are you going to do? You add the fact that you remove the linking word, you recopy the sentence. With this done now, what you could realize is that the use of contrast words or contrast conjunctions is very simple. You just have many possibilities. We use here despite, although, or we use despite the fact that this is not the only way. We can have the use of the noun. We can also have the use of the possessive case. That is what my colleague laid emphasis on the other day. So today, with this homework now corrected, I would like to know if you are having 4/4. Are you having 4/4? If you are having 4/4, congratulations. It is well done. Keep it up. So now we are going to move to the main objectives of the day that I would like to spell out for you. I will spell them out and you will listen to them very carefully. They are what I am expecting from you at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, if you cannot really do this, then it means that you were not really following my lessons. So the first point that we are going to consider is the use of the new words in your own sentences. And what is very important for me is that the sentences should be really meaningful sentences. The point number 2, that is going to be how to double compare short adjectives and long adjectives. And we are going to end it with how to compare long adjectives and short adjectives in the superlative form. The use of the superlative, that is what we are going to finally have. But with the objective now in your mind, I would like to make a step forward by letting you know the content of the text that we have under study or under consideration this morning. The text, I do remember telling you, is titled Nelson Mandela and the History of Apartheid. Who is Nelson Mandela? Who was he? Now, bring your eyes on the board and see the picture here. This is the picture of the man that we are referring to as Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was born on the July 18, 1919 in a small village called Mvezo in South Africa. We are in South Africa. Nelson Mandela was a very strong revolutionary anti-apartheid leader. As a leader, he was imprisoned for 27 good years. And the sentence was saying that it was a life imprisonment. But the whole world stood behind Mandela as one person. And they were doing what? Asking for the liberation, asking for the whole world to free Nelson Mandela. And people were even singing songs. Libere Mandela, Nelson Mandela, supprimer l'apartheid. These are songs, even in French, calling for the liberation of Nelson Mandela. He was finally freed from prison. And from prison, there was now a free and fair democratic election in South Africa. And he won the elections. He became the first black man to be elected president of South Africa. We were in 1994 to 1999. He was the president of South Africa. He was a very gentleman, kind, that the whole world was really appreciating. After we learned that Mandela, who is commonly called Madiba, affectionately called Madiba, we learned that this very name, Madiba, is a name coming from his clan. Even the name Nielsen, that we know him for today, was not the name his parents gave him. It was a name given to him by one of his primary teachers. So you see, a Christian name that a teacher gave Nielsen. And the Nielsen that we are using today is taken. Nothing is forever. He won the Nobel Prize of Peace in 1993. On the December 5th, 2013, he passed away at the age of 95 years. So he was really old. Mandela was really old when he passed away, 95 years. Now, what is apartheid? What is apartheid? Apartheid is an African word meaning distantiating, meaning division, meaning separation. And this was a political and social system of government that was in South Africa during the minority rule or the minority rule era. It started in 1948 with the coming to power of Dr. Daniel Malan. This Dr. Daniel Malan made many things to enforce what? Apartheid. Laws were voted saying that there shouldn't be, for example, what we call interracial marriage. As a black man, you are not allowed to go and look for a partner who is a white lady. And as a white man, you are not also allowed to come down and see if you can find your love among the black community. So this is what we call refusal of interracial marriage. Blacks were not allowed to go or attend the same school as whites. This was what we call the segregation. Blacks were not allowed to enjoy life on the same footing as whites. This is not fair. So you understand that this kind of system was not a fair system. People were fighting, doing all that they can do, anything that was possible to put a stop to this very system of government. So apartheid is what? Division, separation, and what? Not being together as ethnic groups or social groups. Division between us. So that is, roughly speaking, the meaning of apartheid. Now we are going to our first activity, which is going to be vocabulary. I choose for you at random 4 words. And the 4 words that I have selected for you, I base them on the content and the meaning of the whole passage that we are studying. I choose, for example, words like segregation, discrimination, prohibition, and pass. And what we are going to do is very simple. We are going to do what we call matching. And when we are doing matching, we have words of column A being matched with words of column B. So what do? You take the word, you consider its nature, and you match it accordingly. So here, the word is what? The first word is segregation. So if I am having as instruction march, then I can just write down on my paper 1 and the corresponding letter. Or I draw a line with an arrow from the word to the letter corresponding. That is what we call matching. Now, let's take the first word, segregation. Which word do you think is well or matching the definition that we are having here? Segregation, what is it? What is it? I'm expecting, I'm expecting, let's go. Segregation can go with this one. Are you correct? Are you having it? So segregation is the action of or state of setting someone or something apart from others. So when we segregate, that is the verb form. When we segregate, we put things apart. We do not join them. We divide them. So we draw a line from 1 to B, or we write 1 and we write B next to it. The next word is discrimination. Discrimination. Discrimination, the definition that suits the word discrimination is here. A. So we draw a line from 2 to A, or we write 2 and we write A next to it. So the word, the definition here is discrimination, the unjust or prejudicial treatment of people, especially on the ground of race, sex, or age. So these are the most important elements on which discrimination is based. Sex, race. We can sometimes discriminate age. People will say they are old and people they are being discriminated. That is also possible. Now we have the third word, prohibition. Prohibition, what is it? The action of forbidding something, especially by law. So when something is prohibited, it is the act of or the action of forbidding something, especially by the law. So the law is not allowing you to do the thing. That is what we call prohibition. The last word is a pass. A pass is what? A card or a ticket or a permit, giving authorization for the holder to enter or have access to a place. Remember, our text is talking about segregation during the period of apartheid. So blacks were not allowed to go anywhere in South Africa. If you are a black man and you are not having your pass with you before going out, then the police is allowed to arrest you for that. In fact, in the segregated system, a pass is compulsory. So now we have done the matching. We're going to see model sentences. Model sentences, just to tell you that we should know how to use the words in a sentence to have meaningful sentences. So the first sentence that we are having, I believe you are following and you are also trying the exercise. The first word that we are going to use is discrimination. Look at the example that I'm having on the board. Number 1, teachers should avoid discrimination in dealing with learners. Meaningful sentence. When you are sharing the floor as a teacher in classroom, do you discriminate? No, there shouldn't be that. Sentence number 2, segregation is an obstacle to a true patriotism. Segregation. When we are having segregation, we are killing patriotism. And that was the case. Let's go to sentence number 3. There isn't segregation in my country, so we go everywhere without a pass. You don't need a pass here in our country. You can move from Lome to Chevier to Kara without having a pass, without the use of a pass. Now, the second one, the prohibition says everybody should stay at home. Which prohibition? The coronavirus prohibition. You see now, the coronavirus prohibition is telling us to stay at home. That is good. We have our model sentences now done. Let's go now to activity 2, double comparative and the use of the superlative. Double comparative. What do we do? With the double comparative, you should be able to compare. You should be having the comparative marker or the comparative markers before doing properly the double comparison. If you don't know the comparative markers, it will be very difficult for you to double compare. Now, let's see the reminders that we are having on the board. To really double compare short adjectives, we need the there plus the short adjective plus the comparative marker plus there plus the short adjective plus the comparative marker again. There, it is the case of short adjectives. The second one is the case of long adjectives. We have there plus more plus long adjective plus there plus more plus long adjective. You are having all these in your notebooks already, isn't it? If that is the case, well done. If that is not the case, this is an opportunity for you to do what? To grab, so that you may benefit from this very distant learning meant for you people. Shall we now go to model sentences? The model sentences are on the board, but we are going to take them one by one. And one thing you should keep in mind is looking first and foremost for the adjectives. The first sentence is saying, the sun is bright, I feel happy. So we have bright, which is a short adjective, and we have happy, which is a short adjective. But here, happy is an adjective ending with Y. And you know that when an adjective is ending with Y, what we should do. So let's go and see what the answer will be with this very sentence. You see, the answer is saying, the brighter the sun is, the happier I feel. The brighter the sun is, the happier I feel. You can understand that we just have the ER at the end of the adjective bright, and we are obtaining brighter. And here we change the Y into I before adding ER. So we are having the happier I feel. So that is clear. Next sentence. You have, if you work hard, you will finish quick. And you are having as adjective hard and quick. You are having the beginnings saying the double comparative. So you do what? You add the the comparison marker. So the answer will be, the harder you work, the quicker you will finish. Next sentence, you will see. I believe you are following. If you are really following, you will benefit from what is going on here. The sun shines little, I feel bad. Here are two irregular adjectives. We have two irregular adjectives, meaning that my work as a student is to memorize the irregular adjectives. If I do not memorize them, I will not be able to have them when I come across them in sentences like the one that we are having on the board. So my piece of advice is that you memorize your irregular adjectives. I remember telling you the other day to memorize your irregular verbs. Today I'm back telling you to memorize your irregular adjectives. So here we have the answer. The less the sun shines, The worse I feel. So you have the less, the worse. Very important. So we're now continuing. They are intelligent. They appear reliable. The two adjectives here are long adjectives. And if they are long, then it means that we need what? The more plus the adjective. So the more intelligent they are, the more reliable they appear. So I believe you are intelligent and you are reliable. Very good. I am glad that you are really doing the listening and you are really following. That is my job. Now we have practical exercise number 1. This very exercise is for you. It is no more for me. So I am going to see what you can do. The first sentence is saying, you are clever. Your daddy will be proud of you. You are clever. Your daddy will be proud of you. That one is a fact. The sentence is telling you something that is true. So the answer will be, can somebody give me the answer? Help me. Yeah. So the answer will be, the cleverer you are, the prouder your daddy will be of you. Look at this. This adjective, clever, is already ending with er. So what are we going to do? We are going to add again er. Very important. Most of the time, you miss this adjective because clever is already ending with er. We no more add the er. And this is a mistake. We should avoid such mistakes. Let's go to sentence number 2 now. Students are concentrated. They follow the lesson well. Students are concentrated. They follow the lessons well. And we are having the. You can understand that this is a long adjective and this one is an irregular adjective. So if you start with the, we need more and we need better here. Why? Well here is an adverb behaving like the adjective good. So you can understand that the more concentrated students are, the better they follow the lesson. This is clear for the simple reason that when students are concentrated before their teacher, the result is perfect. They really understand easily the lesson. So I believe right now you are really concentrated before your TV screens and you are really following what I am doing. Shall we now continue? Sentence number 3. You go far back in history, there is little evidence for historians to continue. Here again, we are having what? You go far. This is the adjective. Irregular. Little, again, irregular. The two adjectives are irregular adjectives. Just imagine that you are not having them. You haven't memorized them. What will happen? You miss this very sentence. So, my advice stands. You need to memorize all your irregular adjectives. The result will be, the farther you go back in history, the less evidence there is for historians to continue. That is that. Very important for me. The last sentence here, you are lazy. You will find this lesson difficult. We have lazy and difficult as adjective. So we have lazy, which is an adjective ending with y, that we are going to change into I before having the er. So the answer will be, the lazier you are, the more difficult you will find this lesson. Very simple sentence. Now, we are moving to the use of the superlative. Generally, we use the superlative to compare more than two persons or things. That is the rule. Generally, we use the superlative to compare more than two things or persons. Now, with short adjectives, 1 or 2 syllables ending in er, y, ow, and L-E, just like a clever, happy, narrow, gentle. The adjective plus the plus adjective plus est, we are going to have the cleverest or adjective ending in E. Then you have the plus adjective plus st. You have simple ending in E, so it will be the simplest. Here already we have said it, the Y changes into I before we add est. Noisy, the noisiest. So these are the general rules concerning the use of the superlative. With long adjectives, the most plus long adjective. Beautiful will become the most beautiful. Now, there is something very important. The descending order of superlative is made with the least. This is very important. If you don't know this, when you are making the use of a superlative, you will have problems. So keep this in mind. Keep it in the corner of your head. It will be useful for you one day. Example, we have hired the least silly of them. Example, these are sample sentences. My house is the largest one in the neighborhood. So we are having superlative here, the largest. Sentence number 2, Cynthia is the most beautiful girl in our class. So we have the superlative with the long adjective beautiful, the most beautiful. 3, Nwoye was the happiest child in the whole Umuofia. Here we having the happiest, superlative, the happiest. You remember this very name, Nwoye, from Things Fall Apart, of Chinua Achebe. And this test we studied in premiere, the death of Ikemefuna. So you think you have to keep things in mind. So now we are going to see irregular adjectives. Irregular adjectives. So they are irregular. We have the positive adjective, comparative form, and the superlative form. Look at this. We have bad, badly, evil, and we also add ill. And they all behave like what? Bad. Very important. We have little, we have many, we have much, we have far, we have good, we have well. So the comparative form and the superlative form. This chart you should be having in mind. It is a little chart that you should have in mind. When you are sleeping and I wake you to say, this is what you should give me. So bad will become worse, the worst. Little will become less, the least. Many and much, more, the most. Far, farther, farthest, or further, furthest. Good, we have well. They behave like the same. Better, best. Do you remember that very small poem that we have in class 1? Kindergarten. With good. Good, better, best. May I never rest until my good is better and my better is best. Very motivational. Telling you that you should do what? You should be hardworking all day long. So now the practical exercise number 2. Put the adjectives in bracket into comparative or superlative form. Here, the exercise is a bit tricky. You have to be very careful. So we have it into parentheses here, important. Please try to understand first and foremost the sentence. If you do not understand the sentence, it will be hard for you to do the sentence. So the answer will be the most important thing about the Olympic game is not to win, but to participate. The most important thing about Olympic game is not to win, but to participate. So the most important, superlative. Here we are having the second sentence. Everyone play good, parentheses, and run fast, parentheses. It was a great match I had ever seen. Here, if you are not careful, you will not find the 3 of them correctly. So the answer should be, if you are really following, everyone played better and ran faster. Everyone played better and ran faster. It was the greatest match I had ever seen. Because of this I had ever seen, we need the what? The superlative. Very important. The last but not the least sentence here. The coach was just, parenthesis, surprised his players when his team won the game. So you understand, this one, be careful. So the coach was just as surprised as his players when his team won the game. Meaning that they were not expecting to win the game. So this comparison is what? Comparison of equality. As plus adjective plus as. Very important. Shall we now round it off with this very one? Rogers, who used to be the less talented player in the team, showed that he still had potential. So these are very important exercises. I believe you are really going to keep this and ponder on it. You keep it and you ponder on it and see, remembering what we have said concerning them. We are now going to recapitulation, rounding off what we have said. Very important. We said that at the end of the lesson, you are going to be able to use the new words in your own meaningful sentences. From there, we have the chance to see discrimination, segregation, prohibition, a pass. And then from the vocabulary, we went to what we call the use of the superlative and the double comparison. So now, it is time for me to give you a home assignment. The home assignment is saying essay writing. You are going to write an article for publication in your school magazine stating the negative impact that apartheid can have on the citizens of a nation. You are Amakwacha and your school is Lycée Yeye and your class is Terminale Akat. Not more than 150 words. So remember this very short poem which says, all works and no play make a Jack a dull boy. All play and no work make a Jack a lazy boy. There is a time to play and there is a time to work. Only foolish people play all the time. And I believe my people, my students of Terminale, are not lazy people. They are not foolish people. So they are not going to be playing all the time. They will be taking their notebooks, learning their lessons, revisiting the lessons that we are giving them, and benefit a lot when the time comes for examination. Thanks for being with me. See you next time.